welcome your ears to episode number 245 of the Triple Option with RBKD on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260, streaming live all the time, when and wherever you may be. Live, local, and digital on the Horn app and at hornfm.com. On today's show, the least impressive world record ever set, 5 college football teams that have a chance to shock the world next season, and old rivalries that are about to be renewed. Joined alongside by a lifetime Longhorn and card-carrying member of DBU. He's a mercenary mouthpiece, pop culture critic, and the one they call Blackstradamus. He's also the inventor of the Corona kit. He is Rod Babers. Rod B, how we doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I appreciate the intro as always. How you doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Appreciate you appreciating the intro as always.
A shizzle.
Also joined by a lifetime Longhorn and lifetime Austinite. He's so much of a man, they had to take one of his balls away to keep it fair for the rest of us. He knows where your IT guy's IT guy went to college. He is Kevin Dunn. KD, what's going on?
UT's already taken care of South Carolina this year. Let's continue that, and then another SEC foe tonight. This should be fun. I'm excited about both games.
Likewise, I'll be here as well. I am BK, Brad Kellner. Together, we are the Triple Option with RBKD, rocking and rolling till 5:40 today. At that time, we will send you off to Texas baseball. The Longhorns taking on the Aggies. That's right, Texas and Texas A&M on the diamond at Bluebell Park in College Station. Pregame at 5:45, first pitch at 6 o'clock. Over on our sister station, 105.3 The Bats, it'll be Texas women's basketball taking on South Carolina for a spot in the Final Four. That's right. We appreciate all of y'all spending some or all of your Tuesday afternoon with us. And gentlemen, KD, you just alluded to it. Today is a pretty massive day for Texas sports, headlined by those two games. The Texas women's team taking on South Carolina in the Elite Eight of the NCAA women's basketball tournament. That game starting at 6 o'clock. You'll hear it on 105.3 The Bats. And then the 5th-ranked Texas Longhorn baseball team is in College Station. They will play the Aggies also at 6 o'clock, that game on the Horn. So we've got you covered on the Austin Radio Network. Rod B, pretty huge night for the Longhorns. A chance for the women's team to reach the Final Four for the 4th time in school history, the first time since 2003. And then for the baseball team, well, a chance to beat Texas A&M. I don't think I need to say anything more about that.
Yeah, and kind of about exercising some demons too, right? What's the last time Texas baseball won in Aggie land? It's been a while, right?
2011. 10 years.
Right, so you're going on, a decade. Yeah, so you got a chance to exercise some of those demons. And for Vic Schaefer, not that Dawn Staley is a demon, but she has haunted him.
She's a rival.
She has haunted him. I mean, they have actually met 15 times now when he was the coach at Mississippi State and she the coach of South Carolina, and she's 12-3 against Vic Schaefer. Vic Schaefer's only wins against Dawn Staley are in the regular season. In clutch time, in the postseason, he hasn't been able to vanquish one of his rivals. So it'll be really interesting. This is a new beginning for him. We all know Vic Schaefer's one of the best coaches in the country. I mean, only he and Gino Auriemma have been to the Elite Eight in 4 straight years, each of the last 4 years. And he's the 9th coach to do it with multiple teams. So you got elites that are meeting up in the women's college basketball Elite Eight, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see how Vic Schaefer approaches Dawn Staley. I don't know enough about their history in terms of the X's and O's and how he matches up, but the familiarity between these two is going to make this matchup particularly interesting.
No doubt. Yeah, South Carolina, Mississippi State had turned into a nice rivalry. So you're right about Dawn Staley. The good thing about both these games, and obviously there's more on the line for the women because getting to a Final Four, I don't want to underplay that. But the reality is you have to have perspective and understand kind of where everyone is in their journey. And Vic Schaefer's just getting this going. Like this is house money. It was house money, I think, once they got to the Sweet 16 and you're facing a Maryland team that puts hundies on people like Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber. Great scene. One for you, and here you go. And so the fact that they got through that, and the future is so bright with the 3 5-stars coming in, that it is house money. Would it be incredible to go and get to that Final Four? Yes, but you're facing a number 1 seed, and Rod accurately points out that Don Staley is a damn good coach and has that program at a different level in terms of kind of where they are in their journey. And then for Texas A&M, baseball team's playing well. You want to get this one, but it's more about just kind of taking care of business on the weekend. It would be great to have it, but I'm going to go into both these things hoping for wins and just kind of sitting back and enjoying it, knowing that both programs are in a pretty good spot right now.
Don Staley's such a good coach. They named an entire line of dish soap after her.
No,
really impressive.
That's sexist. And
she's only been coaching. She's only been coaching at South Carolina since 2008. She's got her own brand. It's special what she's been able to pull off.
That's not it.
In Columbia.
Wrong.
I don't think that's correct.
Do I have that wrong?
You have that wrong.
Well, I got that from the internet, and you guys know how I feel about the internet. Nothing on the internet can be false.
You know why? Because it's undefeated. It's another one of those undefeateds. And people jump on this. Stop doing it. I've heard this too. COVID's undefeated. No, it's not. It's gotten its ass kicked multiple times, especially if you're gauging winning on killing something. Yeah, it's got 500K. It's got a losing record, though, and so does the internet.
Father Time is undefeated.
Father Time is, but I don't mock that one. But the problem is
it is undefeated.
We've taken both those are undefeated.
So I think those two.
But we've taken. I know, but we've taken those two and we've tried to jump on
you can't.
and everything else.
Those are the only 2 things that are undefeated.
It's undefeated Wednesday. No, it's not. I had a great Wednesday the other day, so it's not undefeated.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, don't overdo it with the undefeated thing.
Yeah. Might be overdoing it with the Cinderella thing here, guys. I'm calling Texas a Cinderella in this NCAA women's tournament, and that feels weird to say in any sport. Calling Texas a Cinderella, that just feels wrong. But there just aren't that many upsets in the NCAA women's tournament, especially when you get to this point of the women's tournament. Guys, the lowest seed to ever reach the Final Four in the women's tourney, it's a 9 seed. It's only happened once. How about this? The last time anybody seated below a 2 has made the Final Four, 2016. 7 seed of Washington. Now this year there's already a 3 seed in, so that's a massive upset. We haven't seen that in 5 years. A team seated as low as 3 making it to the women's tournament. But how about this, guys? So the last time the Texas women made it to the Final Four was 2003. We start this in 2004. No real correlation there, but that's just the research I did earlier today. There have only been 2 teams seeded 5th or lower to reach the Final Four in the women's tournament since 2004. We mentioned it on the men's side. 7 years in a row and 9 of the last 10 tournaments, there's been a team seeded 5th or lower that has made it to the Final Four. So in the men's tourney, it happens all the time. And there are 2 candidates to do that tonight, right? USC, a 6 seed. If they win, they'll be in the Final Four. UCLA, an 11 seed. If they win, they'll be in the Final Four. Like, that happens all the time in the men's tourney, but it doesn't happen in the women's tourney. So, KD, as weird as it is, just because Texas is seeded as a 6, they're Cinderella right now in this tournament.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen as much in the women's tourney as it does in the men's tourney. The same reason it didn't used to happen in the men's tourney as much as it does now. And that is because, well, when you have groups, especially in a sport that is as reliant on team chemistry and playing together, basketball is like an offensive line. You get an offensive line, a bunch of redshirt juniors and seniors, they're going to operate better. That hand's going to operate as one. And so with the women's game, I've always laughed. Kim Mulkey got, when she got, I forget her name, Brittany Griner.
Yeah.
She walked out of that living room saying, I'm going to be in the Final Four the next 4 years. Probably 3 of them. And so that's why it's so tough to break through. I don't think there's as many hats in the game, too, on the women's side as there are in the men's side. But that's why it's so hard to break through. And, Rod, you can hear these announcers. When Texas got that thing tied or within 1, the guy was losing it. And he goes, Texas has tied it with 4 minutes to go. And it was a 6 seed and a 2 seed kind of backing up BK's point that I think they are Cinderellas. And Cinderella was blue collar, if I remember the story correctly.
Cinderella's a gold-digging skank. Tired of everybody talking about Cinderella. But anyway,
we're making that a drop.
But I digress.
Can we play that for in changing my women's thing now?
We don't need to go deep into it, but she is. But I'll say this.
I really do want to get deep into this.
No, we don't need to, because then the kids who, they like the fairy tales and I don't want to shatter any hopes and dreams. But I agree with you, and I think it goes with the trend, right? We talked talked about this when we, both of us, inaccurately predicted that it was going to be a lot of upsets. We just didn't pick the right teams, right? And I think in the men's...
The theory was correct, though.
Yeah, the theory was correct. We just, we screwed up the methodology, I guess. But the first round had more upsets than, any other first round in tournament history, right? And you had more double-digit seeds that advanced to the Sweet 16 than any other tournament history. So you had a ton of upsets. I think most of it was because of what we talked about, right? Just the unpredictable, unorthodox season with the COVID suspensions of games and delays and all those kind of things, and postponements and cancellations. And
to mix with parity, right?
And to mix with parity, all those things. And then I think you've seen that also have an effect on the women's tournament. But like BK said, because that is so rare to get upsets and Cinderella stories advancing on the women's side of the tournament, now I just think you're seeing the same issues, the same factors that led to the upsets on the men's side, historical upsets, and the historical amount of upsets. I think you're seeing the same thing come to fruition on the women's side.
It's just so bizarre to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked
and
about
Texas,
it.
the beneficiary, Randy.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about it leading up to the men's tournament. There's only been one time in tournament history where all 4 number 1 seeds have reached the Final Four. We have a chance to have 3 in the Final Four in the men's side this year. That's
crazy.
A rarity, right? Having 3 there is a rarity. But in the women's game, it almost feels like more often than not you have all 4 number 1 seeds in the Final Four. So the fact that Texas isn't even here is pretty impressive. And guys, they're underdogs again, to the surprise of nobody. But the good news is they've been here before. In the round of 32, they were 9-point dogs to UCLA, the 3 seed. They beat them. On Sunday, the Longhorns, 14-point underdogs to Maryland. They beat them. Tonight, Vegas is throwing them a little bit of a bone, gentlemen. Only 8.5-point dogs to South Carolina. Maybe Vegas is tired of losing money on Texas.
Yeah, Drake wants some money betting on the Texas.
How about that?
Longhorns. Yeah.
Does that mean we're screwed? Is the Drake curse still a thing? Or when the Raptors won the NBA title, did the Drake curse go away?
I don't know if the Drake curse is still a thing. You don't hear about it as much anymore.
Because there used to be a thing, like whatever team Drake was rooting for.
It was real.
Even if he wore a shirt or if he showed up at practice for your team would suck. Your team would lose whatever big game it had
Champagne
next.
Poppy was bad luck.
Yeah, he was.
I agree.
So now I'm worried, that I saw that Instagram post from Drake the other night after Texas beat Maryland, and he said he cashed in. Good for Drake and his cousin. I'm a little bit worried. Now I know who to blame.
No.
If Texas loses tonight, we're blaming Drizzy.
I think you're right. I think the Toronto Raptors championship shattered the Drake curse because I haven't heard much about it since then.
I guess that was it.
But I will say COVID, kind of changed everything too. So I don't know. I don't know if the Drake curse is real or not. I don't think it is anymore. I think you're good. The Madden curse is still real.
I was heartened by all the different celebrities that were watching that game, because sometimes you watch a game like that and you're like, all right, am I the only one watching this? Not that I care about that, but it's cool when I actually get on Twitter and Dame Lillard is like, man, these girls are balling, and you got Drake posting that. I didn't realize money was involved. I was hoping that he was.
Well, he didn't say that on a video, but that's the speculation that Champagne Poppy likes him and his cousin, as BK said, hang out a lot.
I had to look that up too, because I saw the Champagne Poppy, and of course I Google who is Champagne Poppy, and it says Drake.
Who is Champagne Poppy?
Yeah. At 42, I shouldn't know that, and if I do, there's something else going on with me.
Yeah, I knew. But
you for the show you also study that stuff to be a critique.
I'm a Drake fan though, actually.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
I'm not closeted. I'm actually.
You're not
I'm out of the closet.
You're out.
A lot of closeted Drake fans out there, like Drake.
I think there are.
There are tons of closeted Drake fans. It's that he's going platinum for a reason.
Yeah, right.
Everybody hates Drake, but then he's going platinum. Oh, something's up.
It's the whole Guy Fieri thing.
Exactly.
I mean, most of us with dignity don't want to admit that you would watch any of it. I mean, outside of people like BK, but the reality is the ratings would tell you.
Why is he so popular?
A lot of us are watching it.
Yeah, why is he so popular then? Everybody hates him.
It's the best show on television.
That's wrong.
I will die on that hill.
I know, and you're going to be alone in an ant bed full of Cheetos and guys like blonde hair that he shaved over you.
I'll be with a guy.
Flavor Town.
That's fine. Just put me with a guy. That's all I need.
Hey, he knows how to brand himself, though.
Oh, my God.
He's a brilliant brand.
You kidding me?
Brand manager.
He's got a brand on his forehead that he stamped there. He stamps it every morning.
Unreal. So that game tonight.
Right next to that chin thing he's working on.
No, the soul patch.
Oh, my God.
You're ragging on the soul patch. He's trying to bring it back.
How many mirrors on different ceilings does he have? He's like a 70s
He
porn
does seem
star
like
that's
one of
doing
those
a
guys.
food show
Yeah,
now.
he definitely seems like one of those guys.
You don't like his wristbands that he rocks too?
Oh, which ones?
All of them?
All of them?
Yeah.
Once I get to the elbow, I stop counting.
It's not a normal thing to wear in the kitchen. You guys don't wear
He
wristbands?
rocks wristbands in the kitchen?
In your 50s? Nah, trying a little too hard there, bro.
Well, you know what? He's trying to keep his sweat from dripping into whatever he's cooking.
Ooh.
He hasn't cooked in 11 years.
I'm just saying
there is
that's
no
more-
sweat.
I like
He's helping
that.
sometimes during the show.
Only sweat he
Yeah.
has is when he comes down here to do a food show. And he's got people to wipe that off.
Wow.
I probably would.
You wipe it off?
Yeah.
I know you would.
I think I would.
You pay to do that.
It's called a
think I would.
publicist. Lots of people have them.
Unreal. So the women's game.
We're off the rails quickly here, guys.
We're having some fun.
Get
man.
back on.
Having some fun on a Tuesday. The women's game tonight, 6 o'clock, 5:45 pregame. You can hear it on our sister station, 105.3 The Bet. We'll give some keys to the game, what the Longhorns need to do to pull off their third straight upset here in the NCAA tournament. Once again, Texas trying to reach its fourth Final Four in program history and the first since 2003. Tall task tonight going up against South Carolina. By the way, serious question. Are they the Lady Gamecocks? Or are they just the Gamecocks?
Oh.
Are they the Lady Cocks?
This is not a hole we should go down.
South Carolina Cox. I mean, we call the,
This is
not a hole we should go down.
I'm
that a Cox reference?
Yeah, I guess my mind. Just a tip. So, yeah. Just saying.
Serious question. I was
It is a
asking
good
what I
question.
thought was a very mature question. Like, we're doing a professional radio broadcast here. I would like to get
Kind
their
of.
team name right.
Yeah.
Are they the Lady Gamecocks? Are they the Cocks? Are they the Lady Cocks? Are they the Gamecocks?
Because isn't it... Okay, see, I can't believe I'm getting into
Do you want
this.
to get into roosters and chickens?
I know. I didn't want to get into Cinderella being a gold
What about
digger
the
and
Cornish
steak, but now I
game?
got to get
Well,
into
you did.
chickens. Exactly, because, okay, so
I tried to play her off as a sweet blue-collar woman who was stuck in an entitled elitist world, but I don't think I paid attention the one time I probably heard the story at 7.
all I see is Frank Costanza is in that scene. Who's having sex with the hen? The chicken or the rooster? Something's missing. Who's having sex with the hen? Who's having sex with the hen? Okay, so hens, chickens, roosters. Are roosters just the male?
Roosters are the cocks.
That's the cocks, right? Okay, so they are all hens. They just female, right? So we can't call because so the gamecocks. This is sexist by nature, then, right? Because it is a male, like, right? Isn't that a male chicken?
Sure.
The gamecock.
So chickens are not a sex; they're a type of bird.
I assume so, and I assume the hen is female. I don't know enough about that.
I think the hen is female.
Yeah, and then the rooster is male. So the gamecock. This is sexist then. It's a little bit right? Isn't it a little bit misogynistic?
Now, this is a hole I really didn't think
try
we
to
were
get
going
into.
down.
No, I'm just saying. If you the one open the door,
I wasn't thinking anatomy. I was just thinking.
I think. Well, that's why we shouldn't have went down the rabbit hole.
Rod, I totally agree. I think you have a point here, but just the
I'm not trying to be woke.
Oh, I know you're not.
I'm just
the
trying
larger
to-
point.
I'm not trying to be woke
To
at
quote
all.
our boy Bill Maher, if we really start to focus on this, we are not a serious country.
This is obviously not serious. This is a
No, I
bit.
know,
This is
I'm not talking
we are
about you.
We're
I'm
going
not
off the
talking
path.
about you.
But BK opened the door. This is not something that I planned. I'm just asking the question, and I think,
It's a fair question.
So it's sexist, and I wonder when they're going to boycott the game.
Let me understand. You got the hen, the chicken, and the rooster. The rooster goes with the chicken. So who's having sex with the hen? Talk about it another time. But you see my point here? You only hear of a hen, a rooster, and a chicken. Something's missing.
Something's missing, all right.
They're all chickens. The rooster has sex with all of them. That's perverse. Firestorm. That's a hell of a picture. Yeah. Remember when they had the helicopter land on top of that? Hey, come on. I haven't seen it yet. It doesn't have anything to do with the plot.
I want to go in fresh.
Unreal.
Oh God, Miss Frank Costanza.
perverse.
But you're right. I mean, I guess so. Seinfeld, I would have went down this rabbit hole for us.
So Rod, to be serious,
very often.
yeah, I mean, they should be the hens.
I know we can't say that would be
No.
sexist too. You gonna get in trouble for.
Well,
we'll get in trouble for calling them hens.
I'm already trained to not
Yeah.
say Lady Longhorns because I got in trouble with that back in the day.
I know. I think I just
way
said
back
it,
in the
too.
day.
Yeah.
Although I think that's cool now because we were told that
Now that's cool?
not to call them Well, because I see it a lot, so
And I
I'm
say,
rolling with
some
it.
people get offended by females, so you can't go there either because it's like I don't like the.
Some people just
I think
must
women-
wake up offended.
Oh, it's called woke.
Yeah.
What do you
Right.
mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I've always laughed about that. To be woke, that means you've been asleep.
So exactly, that's what it means.
I mean, we're not the Lady Longhorns. We're just the Longhorns. But some women's college athletic programs are ladies. Like Lady Wildcats or Lady this, Lady that.
it can't be Lady Gamecocks.
I don't think it's Lady Gamecocks.
No.
Or
No way.
Lady Cox.
No way.
Should be.
Lady Cox would be great.
Yeah. I mean, South Carolina itself needs more branding with just Cox. We talked about this a few weeks ago when Texas played South Carolina in baseball, right? I mean, they would sell so much merchandise to college kids. Are you kidding me?
They would.
They just had hats or
Unfortunately, you're
shirts
right.
with Cox on it. I think I'm being immature. They actually wore jerseys one time that said just Cox across the chest. So that would be an interesting bit if they had Lady Cox shirts for sale.
Well, and
I'd buy one.
Yeah, only you and you alone.
Think about it. Think about if you're a business, though, right? I mean, cigarette companies used to do this all the time. But you really want to prey on the market that's about to be buying your products.
Oh, yeah.
Or, right? So for a college, that would be anywhere from like 10 to, or maybe 12 to 17, right? And that would be the market that would buy a bunch of cock stuff.
The candy cigarette of the basically. Remember candy cigarettes?
Oh, yeah.
Those were a thing.
Yeah, they tasted good,
They
too.
were awesome.
Yeah,
That
better
was
than
so
that
good.
marshmallow I had to force down yesterday.
They used to put menthol in those things. It tasted like a little menthol at the end.
There was a
like,
minty.
Would you
It was a
eat them or
minty.
you smoked them?
You ate them. Well, you pretended to
you
smoke
pretended
them,
to
and then
smoke
you ate
them.
them as a kid.
And then as they started to whittle down, then you just you'd put the whole thing in there.
It was a thing, dude, for little kids
Yeah.
to walk around with candy
Right.
cigarettes.
You wouldn't light them, though, right?
No, but you
No.
act like you were smoking.
You'd just walk around.
because it was cool back
Okay.
then to smoke.
Same thing with Big League Chew. You'd put it
Yep.
aside
Yes,
and act
exactly
like
right.
it's chaw,
Yeah.
and then you're like, all right, this is gum. I got to start working on
Yeah,
this.
no, you're right. They were basically programming
Bubble
us as
tape.
children to smoke cigs and chew.
Before I started
Tobacco.
snuffing, I was packing bubble tape. I should have sued bubble tape.
Unreal.
I don't
What
know
a
how we got to
segment.
that. I don't even know how we did it.
I don't know where
I don't
we
think we
are.
solved anything.
I'm blaming you guys, man.
You opened the door.
Nah, it's never me.
You
You
opened the
called
door.
Cinderella a gold-digging slut.
And refused to expand upon it. I refused
Right,
to go.
not
I was
even
like,
that.
nope, we're done with
You
it.
just put it out there.
You opened the door. We kicked
Yeah.
it down.
She's a gold digging skank because she's one of those. She needs Prince Charming, and she's looking for a Prince Charming, like somebody that's well-to-do, affluent.
So you think that 84% of the women that are walking Earth right now are that?
No, I'm talking about Cinderella. The actual Cinderella is a gold digging skank, not the Cinderella stories.
I know,
in the tournament.
but a lot of women want the Prince Charming. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if they stick
They
by
want the
that,
Prince Charming that also lives in the castle, not the
Yeah,
Prince
I
Charming
gotcha.
that makes
Okay.
minimum wage.
Okay.
There are a lot of Prince
That's
Charmings
fair.
out there.
Yeah. That's
but,
fair.
Yeah, Cinderella was made sure. So she looked over a lot of Prince Charmings to make sure she got the one in the castle. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah, she wasn't going for a radio host, Prince Charles,
No.
in the old village.
No.
There you go, in the old village.
I do get a kick out of this. I've had girls I've dated, their like sister or family will say, she's a princess. And I'll always just start laughing. I'm like, I live with her. Trust me. She is not a princess. I know you think she's a princess, and 90% of family members with a female that's dating think they're a princess. She's not a princess. And by the way, if Bob and Cindy tell you I'm a prince, they're full of crap.
They are.
There's
Yeah.
nothing prince-like about me, and she lives with me, so she can tell you that.
Nothing regal about
Nothing regal about her either.
And proud of it.
She's not a princess.
Specs text line
Princess.
337-3776.
Who are you talking about?
you. Oh man,
I don't even know what to ask y'all to text, but just text something.
know what happened
if
that
you
segment.
want. I don't either, man. I don't either.
All right.
When we come back, probably more of the same, but I'll give a pretend tease for the hell of it. The triple option with RBKD. Hey, 2 tickets were punched to the men's Final Four last night. A couple of really, really good games as well. We'll recap those, preview the old Southwest Conference matchup that we have in the Final Four, and also set the stage for the 2 Elite Eight games on the men's side tonight. It's next.
Welcome back to the Triple Option with RBKD. It is the Bat Tuesday. We play songs from or inspired by our sister station, The Bat. You can always hit us up via Twitter. I'm at Rod Davis in the Twitterverse. Kevin Dunn at Kevin Dunn01 in the Twitterverse. My man BK is at Brad Kellner in the Twitterverse. Katie, what are you laughing at over there?
Caesar just tweeted us, said, my girlfriend turned in for the first time, and all she hears is at Brad Kellner talk about Lady Cox. Thanks, effers. With a smiley face.
It probably took him months to convince his woman to like, hey, babe, let's just listen to it's one of my favorite shows, man.
It's not sophomoric.
These guys are really high level. I mean, we're talking about, it's really intellectual humor when they drop something and then boom. Yeah.
You're welcome, Caesar.
Hens
and Caesar's girlfriend. You're very welcome.
She'll be back.
Hopefully. Because I appreciate when the ladies tune in.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, this thing is a bit of a hot dog social. Makes me really uncomfortable.
Even when Cinderella, if someone like Cinderella would tune in, I'd be okay with that.
I'd be okay with that, but I'm just saying, she's a little materialistic. That's all. She's a bit shallow.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
I'm not going to comment after that at all.
Let's talk about the men's tournament. A little recap here. We do have half of our Final Four set. Gentlemen, the Baylor Bears and the Houston Cougars have advanced to the Final Four. And I guess the games got close, but, it seems like U of H jumped out to, a 17-point lead at one point. And they did it with impressive rebounding. The game was tied, though. I will say that Oregon State did come back to bring it close and tied with right around the 4-minute mark left in the game. And then U of H still was able to seal the deal. So Oregon State did come back. But, man, the rebounding edge really was the story. U of H won the rebounding edge 41-29. They had 19 offensive rebounds, got 19 second chance points.
There's your difference right there.
And they ended up shooting 15 more shots as a result.
That's your ball game right there. If Oregon State cuts that number in half, if Houston has 9 or 10 offensive rebounds, then the Beavers win that game, and they probably win it going away.
Yeah.
But when you play a zone defense like Oregon State does, you leave yourself susceptible to the offensive rebounds, and that's what happened last night. Houston was all over the glass, and they needed it because they did not shoot the ball particularly well, but you give yourself that many second opportunities, you're going to have a shot to win, and that's what happened.
You're going to have a shot to win. Baylor, Arkansas, there was a stretch there, especially once Arkansas woke up, because it looked like Baylor was going to run them out of the gym, and I stand by what I said. I just love watching this Baylor team play.
They're fun to watch, man.
When they're, especially when they're feeding the big guy off quick little touch passes, the dribble drive, or as we used to call it back in the day, the drive, because you can't drive without dribbling.
The dribble drive.
Well, in today's basketball, it feels like you can.
Yeah, that may be a fair point.
That is a very underrated joke.
That's a touche moment.
Yeah, you hear that, Caesar's girlfriend?
Yeah.
Intellect.
Yeah,
I have that. Some of that.
As a Rockets fan who used to watch James Harden, I appreciate that joke, man. That's good.
But they play seamless basketball when they're playing really well. And you had... Who was it? Who got in foul trouble for them? Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell got in foul trouble,
yeah.
and that actually took the rotation out a little bit. But once he got back in, I'm telling you, man, BK, that reminded me that would have fit in any time Rod and I were growing up when we always talk about how great basketball was. That felt like the way that ball was moving. There was up and down. That was some high-level offense.
Yeah, when they're moving the ball like that, they're tough to stop.
Yeah.
The way to beat Baylor is to slow them down and make them grind out offensive possessions, and Arkansas is not the type of team to do that. Arkansas likes to play up-tempo, too, and Baylor's just about as good as anybody in the country at playing the game a little bit up-tempo and moving the ball around on offense. And they defend incredibly well, too. It's a complete Baylor team, and it feels like they're back. They had that little bit of a COVID lull in the middle of the season. They lost a couple of games, one to Kansas in the regular year, and then in the Big 12 tournament to Oklahoma State. And there were some questions whether or not this team could get back to the team that started 18-0 and was ranked number 2 in the country for the majority of the year. But it feels like they're there. And not to pat myself on the back or anything, but hopefully y'all listened to me last night, because this is what Arkansas does, right? Arkansas, their 3 tournament wins before last night, they were down double digits in all 3 games. So I saw a lot of people saying, oh, my God, I'm stunned. I thought Baylor was going to blow out Arkansas. I thought that game was over when it was 13-2 or 29-11. Like, that's just what Arkansas does. Mm-hmm. It's a recipe for disaster. You're playing with fire, and eventually you're going to get burned, and they got burned last night trying to overcome an 18-point deficit to a team that good. But I had a hunch Arkansas was going to make this a game, and they did. It was really, really entertaining. Mm-hmm. It was a high-level basketball game.
It really was.
And it felt like Arkansas was playing really well at times, too, but Baylor was just a little bit better. It was a 4-point game with 7.5 to go, and then Baylor's defense, I think, became the story, guys. Like, for the first, 25 minutes, it was their offense, but for the last 15 minutes, they really clamped down defensively, and they did it enough. If I may say, Houston just had the easiest route to a Final Four in NCAA tournament history.
All double-digit?
Now, Houston sports fans deserve some luck, considering the year that they've had.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve this. But, yes, all double-digit seeds. They're the only team in the history of the NCAA tournament to play 4 double-digit seeds. They played a 15 in round 1, then a 10, then an 11, then a 12. So, look, you can only play who's in front of you. And I said it before the tournament, I think Houston's a legitimate team. I think they're a legit national title contender, and Ken Palm metrics would tell you the exact same thing. But playing Baylor, who they'll have to play next Saturday, major step up in talent. And I wonder, it's fortunate their route to the Final Four. That helps. You love that. You take advantage of that. But I wonder if that massive step up in competition is going to spell doom for them, because they haven't seen a team nearly as good as Baylor on their run to the Final Four.
Especially the way Baylor's playing. And Flagler gives them that extra guard. He looked good last night. Mayer fits in well with them. They've done a great job of developing him. Then they got the 3 big guys, including Vital, who I just love. I mean, he's good for a couple assists, couple steals, couple blocks. He does a lot of different things to go around those 3 guards. Butler, Mitchell, and Teague are special. Baylor's going to the championship game. I will stand by my Gonzaga-Baylor pick, although I'm feeling that the Baylor may win that thing. This team believes, too. There is a mental toughness to them, Rod.
Yeah, well, I just think they can be elite on both ends, which is something that's pretty rare. As BK said, the deeper you get into the tournament, every team out there has to be balanced, but they just have an intensity, and they can just monopolize the pace of the game, force you to play their game. Arkansas, they want to play that style, but not everybody wants to play that style, and Baylor forces you to play their style.
Yeah, they did. They even went back to the old matchup. That gave me some PTSD. I haven't seen them run that as much this year. I've seen them run it a little bit, but that was old school Scott Drew, and they did that on the fly.
How about Scott Drew?
Yeah, look, man, you got to give him love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to compare that to. I don't know if you could quite go as far as saying he's like the Bill Snyder of college basketball.
Not yet.
But the situation that Scott Drew walked into, Baylor basketball had a murder, and their previous coach tried to cover up a murder. And that team, guys, they made one Final Four. Excuse me. They made one NCAA tournament between 1950 and the time Scott Drew got there in 2003. One NCAA tournament, and now they're making it seemingly every year. They've been a top 3 seed in 6 of the last 12 years, and they're in the Final Four for the first time since 1950. Say what you will about him, he rubs people the wrong way, a little bit of a sleazeball, some might argue, but the dude could coach, and what he's done there is pretty incredible. Now, I will say this, guys, I need y'all's take on this, and Rod, I think I know the way you lean on this. You're a state pride guy. We talked about that yesterday, and look, there are a ton of Texans who have a ton of pride in this state, and I am a state pride guy with everything except for sports. I like UT, and that's it. All the other teams can suck it.
Except for Dallas.
That's mature. And yes, professional teams too. But for college teams, I like UT. To me, like to some people, I saw a lot of Texas natives taking to Twitter last night, celebrating the fact that you've got an all-Texas national semifinal with Baylor and Houston. For me, as a fan and a graduate of the flagship university of the state of Texas, I'm embarrassed by this. I'm absolutely embarrassed by this because in the last 2 tournaments, you've had 3 teams in your state make it all the way to the Final Four. Remember Texas Tech played in the national title game in 2019. Now you've got Baylor and Houston, one of those teams playing in the national title game this year. Like, that's embarrassing as hell to me. That all of these other schools that have less resources than you do are finding ways to achieve basketball success at the highest level, and you haven't gotten to the second weekend since 2008. So I was not one of those guys taking to Twitter boasting about how the state of Texas had 2 teams in the Final Four. I think it's embarrassing and a bad look for UT.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I don't think it's as embarrassing. I think with the parity in college basketball, it's such a coin toss year to year with rosters and managing that roster that Texas is doing everything they can. Now it's embarrassing that they stuck with Shaka as long as they did and sat on that thing. But if they hire Chris Beard, they're hiring one of those 3 schools that got there. I see where BK is coming from, And I never liked that. I didn't like when Baylor or Rice got to Omaha. I thought, all right, don't start making this normal. Don't start all of a sudden changing the culture. And guess what? It did. Rice baseball to me was a joke growing up. And then they turned it into a kind of one of those powerhouses.
Oh, yeah.
And so you can do that where all of a sudden if Drew gets to 2 or 3 Final Fours in the next 5 years, Baylor is that program in the state. So I worry about that, but I guess I'm not as embarrassed because I knew Shaka wasn't the guy, Rod, and there's a lot more randomness that goes into college basketball than I think people want to believe.
Yeah, no, I think you got a point, but I'm with BK mostly. I've noticed that too. Listen, I've been that guy that noticed it in football, right? Baylor did it under Art Browse, and then with Matt Rule. I remember when they were the Care Bears, and then they got to the point where they were winning the Big 12. It then TCU, of course, in the state. I think the things that happen on the periphery, they do put pressure on the University of Texas. But I think actually sometimes it actually is positive. I think it's constructive. Texas needs to make a change. So seeing all your neighbors upgrade and, get newer facilities forces Texas to go, all right, we need to upgrade. A&M's got, you see what they did to the stadium? They renovated it.
Yeah.
They're now saying they got the biggest stadium in Texas. They're now saying they got a bigger jumbotron.
We got to paint the house, don't we?
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's like when your wife comes and she starts telling you that the neighbors renovated the kitchen and they got a new pool and they got a new car. Honey, why don't we have a new car? Why don't we have a new pool? What's going on with our janky kitchen? And
you sound like Cinderella.
No, I'm just saying, like that happens. Well, it does. Trust me. I'm about to be married. It happens. All right. She wants to know why we can't get the kitchen renovated. And Longhorn fans are the exact same way. Hey, Baylor just won a Big 12 title, and they just hired Matt Rule. Why can't we do that? Hey, they just found a quarterback that can win the Heisman. Why can't Texas do that? A&M did it. You know what I mean? Those things matter on the periphery. I think they do put a good amount of pressure on Texas. So I think it's positive. It happened to Mac Brown when Mac Brown was here for first year he got here. A&M won the Big 12. People forget that. Actually, in football, it was a long time ago, but they did. They won the Big 12.
First year for what now?
19. And Mac got here in 1998.
Oh yeah.
A&M won the Big 12
back
right then. All right, and people forget like that. Immediately your rival wins the conference as soon as you get in there. And Mac's like, damn. All right, I got to get things going. Next year, basically, Bob Stoops, 2 years later, ends up winning the national title, your other rival. I know it's not in the state, but the pressure that it put on Mac was immense. And you could tell Mac said, we gotta do something. I gotta win. If I don't, and Longhorn fans, even though he was winning 9-10 games, they didn't care about that. Why? Because
he couldn't beat OU.
A&M won the conference, and OU was winning the conference and winning national titles. So your standard has to change. Your standard has to, change. It has to evolve. And I think for Texas fans, looking at what their neighbors are doing, it often, influences their decisions and how they perceive their team.
Mm-hmm. It's well said.
Yeah.
Congrats to Houston and Baylor. I don't mean to take away anything from y'all. It's been a long time coming for both schools. Houston's first Final Four since '84. That's 5 Final Fours now for the Cougars. That's tied for the most in college basketball history without a championship. So Houston trying to change that narrative and get off that list. And for Baylor, their first since 1950.
Yeah, it is. Look, both guys are tough to root for, both head coaches, Kelvin Sampson and also Scott Drew, just the sliminess. But then I thought about that last night, and I said, what coach would I watch in college basketball that I wouldn't feel like I had to take a shower afterwards? I mean, a lot of that's just kind of what it is. And I'm sure in college football, there's a lot of that, too. I think college basketball gets singled out too much for that. There's a ton of cheating going on in college football. We just kind of know more some of the characters now in college basketball.
True. Yeah, they're the faces of the teams, right? The coaches in college basketball are the faces of the team. Yeah. Every now and then in football, you'll get a quarterback or a really good player that becomes the face of the team. Mm-hmm. But that's rare in college basketball, becoming more rare with the one and done.
No doubt.
337-3776 is the Specs text line if you want to chime in here on the Triple Option with RBKD. When we come back, man, maybe the most talked about event in sports last night was the women's tournament game between Baylor and UConn. UConn got the win. Did you hear what Baylor coach Kim Mulkey had to say after the game about a controversial foul call and about COVID? It's next.
Welcome back. I forgot that I was supposed to come back in on that one. I was literally singing that. I looked back at
karaoke.
I looked at Rod and BK, and they're like, "All right, man, you going to finish this thing out, or we can actually get to our segment here?" Welcome back to the Horn. This is the Triple Option. Having a good time today, getting ready for Texas baseball. Oh, it's going to be a rivalry game. It's Texas and Texas A&M. Don't forget, we've got Texas and South Carolina women's basketball that will be on the bat. We'll continue to talk about that. I think BK was right. He teased it. Maybe the story last night in the sports world was UConn and Baylor. We were watching that game as we went off the air yesterday. I went right home and turned it on, had both games on, but really was focusing on that one a lot more. I thought it was really good basketball up and down. We know what UConn is. Baylor's got some ballers for sure. Came down to the very end when the Stanford transfer, forgot what her name is. She's good looking, though. Like that long blonde hair. Rod, don't say anything.
I don't know who it is.
She's got some game though, and she ends up driving, triple drive, and has two posts that come over to her, and she puts up the shot. Real time, I thought she got hit, but I was like, let me see the replay. It didn't look like they were vertical, the two UConn players. The replay would show that her elbow got hit.
That was definitely contact.
There was definitely contact, and she was fouled.
There was definitely contacts.
Contacts.
She got hit by two different people on two different parts of her body.
And it's not like she went up into it and they're straight vertical. They were leaning over like trees.
Agreed.
and clearly should have been a foul. There was no foul called, so UConn ends up winning by 1 point. Now Kim Mulkey she's quite the character, quite a lovely lady. I wonder what she would be like at lunch or anywhere. And by the way, save the text because I've called tons of male coaches a-holes. She's got some B in her. Definitely got some B in her, which I think probably helps her out on the sideline as a coach, BK.
Dude, she scares the hell out of me.
Oh, me too. I would not mess with her to save my life. I would, but no, I wouldn't mess with her.
I wouldn't. I'd rather die.
You'd rather die.
I'd rather die without having to deal with her. I'm telling you, any coach in any sport, she's number one on my list of people I'm trying to avoid, or at least people I would not want to be like trapped in a dark alley with. I'm telling you, man, she scares the absolute hell out of me, and she has scared me for years. She's an incredible coach, Hall of Famer, 3-time national champion. I'm not calling out her coaching acumen by any stretch, but man, that personality, she is feisty on the sidelines.
Men have often used, their personas as coaches to intimidate, right? That's almost part of how they win. Like, oh, man, that coach is intimidating. He uses this very foreboding presence about him.
Saban, Belichick, Meyer. Go through the list of guys that seem like a-holes.
Yeah. Even Popovich seems like an a-hole sometimes. But, I think when a woman does it, it's a little off-putting, so I think we're just not used to it. But I do think she is using some of those same psychological mechanisms that men have used for years, and we praise them for it. But yeah, she's a woman, so we're like, oh man, it's good. But I think it still works for her.
It works.
Like, and I think it's natural. I don't think she is. I don't think she's rehearsing that. I don't think it's something that's premeditated. I think that's just her. It's a genuine article.
Tough to rehearse that anger.
Yeah, take it or leave it.
It's real. So she was messing with her mask last night.
Yeah.
It's like she had never used it. So what is she doing? It's like, it's one thing to take it off because you want to talk and be heard, and I can't stand these announcers that are 6 feet apart from someone and they're by themselves, but for the virtue signaling, ESPN has them double mask, and here's a 2-2 that looked like a changeup, and all right, come on, we get it. You guys can separate here, or else just don't show up for work. But she was going over the top with the mask thing.
Yeah.
What was going on there?
We've got two cuts of audio, but the video that you're talking about, I tweeted it out last night. Look, the game itself was highly entertaining.
It was.
But her mask antics during her post-game press conference, stuff of legend right there. I mean, something special. She looked like putting on a mask was like trying to solve a 100,000-piece puzzle.
Yeah.
Like, she made it look that difficult, and she was doing that for show. The personality on the sideline, not for show, but she knows how to wear a mask, clearly. We've all been doing it for over a year at this point.
Seriously.
She just wanted to overemphasize the point of how ridiculous she thought the masks were. So we'll get to the COVID cut here in a second.
Okay.
But this is the first cut. She was asked about the call itself, right, the controversial non-call at the end of the game last night. And here's a little back and forth with her and her reporter. And, dude, she's intimidating to the players. She's intimidating to me watching on TV. She's also intimidating to the media. I'd be scared to ask her a question in a post-game presser. Here's why.
What did you see when Dejanay drove the ball from where you were standing?
What did you see?
I was surprised they didn't call a foul.
Then write it like that. You don't need a quote from me. I've got still shots and video from 2 angles. One kid hits her in the face and one kid hits her on the elbow.
Terrifying. What did you see?
She reminds me of a couple ants. Like just Texas women, and they may be 5'3", and it's like, nah, I ain't messing with that.
He's a firecracker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should be in that guy.
Don't underestimate him.
Grab your nuts and twist them in the pile.
Yeah.
She was like to
And
me like
smile.
it's like she would be like a female detective, like the head of I could see
Yeah.
her being like, right?
Yep.
She could be like the commissioner, or I don't know,
Dude.
some lieutenant, whatever. But like she would be oversee like a police officer. She could do that.
She got
I
some
would-
Nancy Grace in her.
Yeah. I would admit to a murder that I never committed with her in the room.
Yeah.
She would convince me to fess up to a crime that I was not a part of at all.
She would.
Well,
She
then
could play
you
a great
report
female
it that
cop.
way. I mean, it's like, well,
We'll write it like that.
write it like that.
So how about this? This is, the game itself was controversial, right? The no call at the end, controversial. But some of Kim Mulkey's comments in the postgame presser were also talked about a lot last night on social media, to say the least. Here is Kim Mulkey, unprovoked. She was not asked a question about COVID. She just gave her thoughts on COVID testing in the NCAA women's tournament.
You know, and I want to say this to all of you. I want to say this to you. I don't think my words will matter, but after the games today and tomorrow, there's 4 teams left, I think, on the men's side and the women's side. They need to dump the COVID testing. Wouldn't it be a shame to keep COVID testing and then you got kids that end up having test positive or something and they don't get to play in the Final Four? So you need to just forget the COVID test and let the 4 teams that are playing in each Final Four go battle it out.
She almost dropped an S-bomb.
Almost. She was close. She was very close.
I was
Freaked me
close
out.
like a week ago.
Absolutely. So y'all's thoughts on that? Kim Mulkey saying, hey, every team has been bubbled for a while now. We're down to 4. Can we stop the COVID testing just in case? Let's say y'all.
I don't even know what to say to that. That's crazy. That's wild that she would go there. You could believe that privately. That's fine, but it's one of those things my mom always say, just because you can think it to yourself all you want doesn't mean you need to say it out loud. So.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to that. I think the reality is she's pretty damn close to being true. If you want to look at death rates and actually look at how this is how this has affected people that age, a lot of this still is a show. And so once you get to the Final Four and there's that much on the line, if they want to sign a consent slip, then let them go. Now, the NCAA doesn't work like that, and I understand what you guys are saying, that there was probably no reason to even jump in there. I think she's just pissed at all the stuff, all the hoops that she had to go through to get to this Elite Eight, and she should have had 2 free throws to get to a Final Four and go 5-4 against Gino. I think there's a lot of stuff there, but I don't think that's as crazy as certainly the liberal media tried to make it out to be.
Yeah, I mean, look, she's right. It would be a real shame if a team couldn't participate in the Final Four due to a COVID outbreak. I mean, that would suck to get all the way here to work this hard to get to the Final Four and not be able to play. That'd be a huge issue. It'd be a huge problem. But you got to consider more than just the kids. You got to consider all of the other people that could potentially be affected.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's why you just can't do it. So there are some people who would probably agree with Kim Mulkey, no doubt. And there are some people, as we saw on social media last night, who thought that was the dumbest thing ever said in the history of the world.
It's not the dumbest thing ever said. I understand what Rod's saying, though. Maybe keep that to yourself.
Yeah, that was controversial, no doubt. She probably knew it was going to be, and I think you're dead on, KD. She was pretty pissed off with the way that game had ended. So she was just spewing out whatever at that point. She didn't care.
Yeah, if you would have asked her about pulled pork, well, I don't like when it gets dry, and, it's like, well, we're talking about the good stuff about pulled pork here. Well, there's nothing good about pulled pork right now. Next question.
It's a pretty good Kim Mulkey.
Let me get my math straight.
That's pretty good. That's not
Then
bad.
write it like that.
I might have to be a drop moving forward.
Then
Yeah.
write it like that.
Right like that.
Terrifying.
You know, we used to use these masks for other things. All right, Kim, let's just end this thing.
Yeah, we turn off her mic. Unreal. 337-3776 is the Specs text line. If you want to chime in, it's the triple option with RBKD. UConn for the 13th straight year on to the women's Final Four. Tough end for Baylor. When we come back, let's talk some Longhorn football. 5 teams in the 2021 college football season that could crash the CFP party. Well, if we're talking about it, I think you can guess who one of those teams is. We'll tell you next.